Hello, we are getting into fossil fuel notes and we're looking at past and uses of it. And this is going to be incredibly short because instead of having that horrible audio of my playing the video clips, I actually found them in Edpuzzle. So once you're done with this set of notes, there's a few other Edpuzzles I need you to go ahead and watch after you're done with that. So if we take a look at that at the end, we can get there. Hang on for a moment at the end, and I'll tell you which ones you need to do. So a lot of people think that fossil fuels equals dead dinosaurs. Well, the reality is, unless all the conditions are actually perfect, that dinosaur fell into the ocean, broke into little parts, got buried with all these other little organisms, and then basically a confining layer went on, and no oxygen got to it, and we had anaerobic breakdown. Most of the dinosaurs didn't end up as our fossil fuels. Ancient organic matter did. So some of the videos that we'll get into, we'll talk about how that goes. But no, it's not that. So what are our fossil fuels that we use most commonly? Coal. We have a lot of coal burning plants around the country. Natural gas. Some of you use this on your stoves at home. Oil. We use oil for a number of things, not just the car fuel, our gas or our diesel, but also jet fuel, which is a slightly different composition, heating oil, our plastics. A lot of our pharmaceuticals, a lot of our medicines actually have parts coming from the crude oil. We need crude oil for things in our life. We're going to talk about, however, is the best use of what's left of our crude oil going to be to run our vehicles? That's something you'll have to decide when you go to make that choice. Um, these fossil fuels are really that remnants of carboniferous life on Earth. You're talking a lot of this is coming from the Carboniferous period when we had massive amounts of organic material in the forms of forests that got buried and didn't get oxygen to them, where they could be converted into a fossil fuel. If we look at humans in history, peat was found by ancient humans in camps. I mean, we have evidence of it being used as a fuel source. When peat couldn't be found, we also would burn coal. It was much more efficient, much higher energy output um, for the same amount of material. The first recorded use of coal to create steam was by the Chinese more than 3,000 years ago. So it's been around. Fossil fuels have been used for very long times. They used it to create light heat steam and to facilitate high temperature reactions. So whatever they were doing, they figured out if they burned coal, peat, whatever it is they had for their fossil fuel, they could use it to their benefit. People used coal because it's high energy output. It burns longer and hotter than wood, and we go through. Obviously, we're not doing the Kahoot, but in present, what do we use them for? Well, we make our chemicals from crude oil. From crude oil, we get our plastics. From here, do I want to show this one? Yep, I do.
Whether you're buying apple juice or peanut butter, you've probably noticed that fewer products come in glass containers these days. Plastic packaging is becoming more common. Plastic bottles and jars are lighter to carry and leave no shards of glass to clean up if you drop your grocery bag. Many transparent bottles and jars are made from a type of plastic called polyethylene terephthalate, or PET. An automated mixer combines PET pellets with flakes of recycled PET. Reprocessed plastic loses some of its physical properties, so the recycled content can exceed 10%. The PET drops from the mixer into a plastic injection machine that heats it to a piping 600 degrees Fahrenheit. The dry raw material melts into thick and gooey liquid plastic. The machine then shoots it at high pressure into a mold. This plastic injection molding process casts pieces of plastic called preforms, starter shapes that subsequent machines will transform into bottles or jars. The molded preforms harden almost instantly, thanks to a built-in cooling system. These preforms are now on their way to becoming single-serving juice bottles. This is another plastic injection molding machine. It uses the same method to make preforms for a different model, 1.5 to 2 liter bottles.
Doesn't look like a bottle to us yet, does it?
The
Looks like a
preform's next stop is a machine called a reheat stretch
test
blow
tube.
molder. In a matter of seconds, it heats each preform just enough to make the plastic malleable. Then inserts a rod to stretch the preform lengthwise, while at the same time blowing in air at extremely high pressure. This forces the preform into a bottle-shaped mold. Cold water circulates within the mold to cool and set the plastic almost instantly.
So plastics, we use them all the time. Please recycle them. And if you watch the recycling video, you know you need to, especially in my classroom, I've got so many sinks. Please always empty them. Put the caps back on, otherwise they get jarred and they don't get used. But please clean out your plastics before you recycle. Pharmaceuticals, a lot of the medications that we use today, we need crude oil for the chemicals that it possesses to create those. And we use it obviously for transportation. Gas and diesel are very common. I have a hybrid, but I still use gas. I also use some electricity, and the electricity, you have to have a power plant to generate it. So it's still better, but you know, we're still using fossil fuels. Now, if I have my way when I build the cabin, I'm going to put solar on and some geothermal, but that's just me. And I'm hoping that by then I can afford it. We'll see. You'll learn more about that coming up in our project at the end of this unit. So heat, we use it for fuel oil. We use it for natural gas to heat our homes. And we use it to create electricity. So, and the big one that people don't think about is it's used to make fertilizers. We put it back on the ground to help things grow. What most people don't know is we have a tendency as a country to over-fertilize. If you actually get your soil analysis done, you'll probably find out you don't need quite as much, but people don't like their weeds. I'm going to pause this for just a moment, and then we're going to try and pop up with another screen. Okay, we're on to our other screen, and hopefully this is recording, so here we go. You've done your intro, you've done this. We just went through this set of notes, and remember those notes are always available to you, and I need to rearrange this, but I do need you to go in this order. Formation of fossil fuels, what are fossil fuels, the formation of coal, 3D, and 300 years of fossil fuels in 30 seconds. These videos would normally have been embedded into the notes I just went through, and that would have taken most of the class. But I do know that sometimes it's really hard to hear that when I record, so I tried to pull them out and put them into Edpuzzle. So this is your assignments for today. Please get these 4 done to go with this set of notes, and I will, as always, if you need help, email or Zoom in.